Attention! Emergency broadcast to all mobile units. Headquarters to all mobile units. All points bulletin. Be on the lookout for Shadow, the Black Hedgehog. Wanted in connection with the terrorist attacks. Last seen in the vicinity of downtown Westopolis. Orders are, capture him. Dead or alive.
Out of my way. Coming through.
Stop! Don't move, or we'll shoot!
Stupid humans.
Very impressive, Shadow.
Who are you?
You don't remember anything, do you? But you will in time. But now, there's no time to waste here. Go and access the United Federation's mainframe. Understand?
Got it.
Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, I'm Sonic the Hedgehog here, and I'm from the likes of the Maxi Toys videos, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Let's Play of Shadow the Hedgehog for the Nintendo GameCube, PlayStation 2, and of course Xbox. So last time we actually did manage to explore for Glyphic Canyon, which appears to be by the forms of the very first Stage 2 levels in Shadow the Hedgehog. And today for this episode is the fact that we're going to be moving on into another Stage 2 level, but this time it calls it Digital Circus, because in order to actually access to this level right here, we need to be sure we need to beat the Dark Mission in Westopolis. So before we get into this, however though...
Destroy the core program.
Help me find the Chaos Emerald.
So, anyway, so this is the forms of Digital Circuit, which basically this is the only, one of those two levels that we can able to transport into the forms of the database. You know, kind of like how we did in the forms of Techno Base from Sonic Advance 2, and especially notable by the forms of Cyberspace, or Cybertrack rather, in the forms of in Sonic Advance 3, except the fact that, well, it's just basically we have to play as Shadow the Hedgehog this whole time, and, this is where the thing starts to get a little bit more interesting, because if you couldn't tell, this is the one of those stages that actually retains not 3 missions, but only... Oh wow, my game somehow crashed. Well, that was a really terrific start for this video. Hold on a second, guys. Okay, quick edit right there. I have to fix up my game disc real quickly. So, yeah, I wasn't expecting that. Because of that, I'm pretty sure that, for some reason, my Nintendo Wii, for some reason, doesn't seem to able to like reading GameCube discs as I was hoping it would be. Specifically this game, for example. But at least I was hoping it works just fine.
Shadow, this is the information highway system that they call cyberspace. Delete the core program that controls the data flow, and the world will plunge into chaos.
So alrighty then, so as I mentioned to you before about the fact that there are only 2 missions in this level, which one of them actually leads us to the very end of the goal ring, which is very simple, self-explanatory, and another one which appears to be we need to go to the alternative pathway, which I believe the objective on this one is pretty much exactly identical to the forms of getting the goal ring, except the fact that we need to able to deal with one specific thing. So even then, yeah, that's as far as I can see how this work goes out. So... yeah, as far as Digital Circuit, as far as this is concerned, I actually really do enjoy this level for quite a bit. Well, there is also the second variation of this little particular computer motif kind of level, which we'll get into that sooner or later. And I do apologize by the forms of the lack of uploading schedules for this point recently, folks, is because, well, recently yesterday I've managed to able to get my Wi-Fi broadband on. So even then, though, that way. That my laptop, well, that's what I was supposed to say anyway, that hopefully it should able to run quite smoothly for the most part, especially noticeable how the Wi-Fi connection comes into play, but hey, at least as far as that's really concerned about this, so anyways, before we get to this, however, though, when it comes to the forms of, the mission structure of this level is concerned, the Dark Mission allows you to able to actually destroy the actual core system. Which, by the way, we'll get into more details onto that when we're able to actually get to the very end of the level. And the hero mission is very self-explanatory, sorry. You have to go for the goal ring, and that's all you have to do. And the third Chaos Emerald is once again is going to be the yellow Chaos Emerald, because as you expected, now the fact that the actual color of the Chaos Emerald's order will be exactly similar to the forms of Sonic Heroes' color order. So because, you know, especially noticeable how the fact that the graphics themselves in this game looks damn near identical to Sonic Heroes, even though, except the fact that the actual visuals, and especially noticeable with the actual structure of the game, can get pretty bleak at one point, which doesn't really fit the tone for the forms of these particular stuff. I will admit though right away, but I digress. So yeah, today was actually forms of the 7th of November, in this case in 2018, so we've naturally almost at the halfway point of, well, November already. Stephen Endo. Now, I've heard from several rumors about the fact that with the forms of the next Nintendo Direct is about to be happening and during the likes of, during tomorrow or something, even though it might be true or fake. Well, granted, it might be a little bit of a possibility, because you remember that we've already had the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Direct by the forms of, like, at the very beginning of the month before the game's released. So, but I digress. Yeah, as you can see on the forms of this level itself is the fact that, we need to occasionally destroy those little, walls, because even then though, every time you actually jump one of them, or just shoot one of them, basically you're able to deplete the actual wall, and then every time you do that, then you would able to proceed to the actual level. So, sometimes this level can get pretty slow at times, mainly by the forms of these moving blocks and stuff like that, which it kind of reminds me of the forms of the Super Mario Sunshine's sequel courses, I will admit though, except, well, Mario does it right, so, but I digress. And also I really do enjoy this music though, even though it can be a little bit repetitive at one point or another, I will admit though right away, but I digress. So yeah, in order to actually get to one teleportation thing to one another, is the fact that you need to able to homing attack into one of those little gun little floaty enemies. As far as you can see, there was one over there that we did manage to homing attack into one of them, and then basically it'll actually transport you to a different spot. So yeah, as far as I can usually say about Digital Circuit, it's actually quite a, I'm not gonna lie, a very memorable stage. I will admit though, in my opinion, other than the fact that well, the visuals do look very cool. But oh yeah, one thing I need to mention is the fact that, as you can see, how the fact that we actually did manage to come across into those fire walls, which, yes, the fire walls are extremely dangerous, as long as you're able to actually just, you know, take the shield and stuff like that, which actually gives you a somewhat of a nice protection and stuff. But either way, though, it's not too much of a big of a deal, at least as far as I'm concerned with this kinds of stuff. But anyways, though. So, yeah, I guess there's not much else I can really say about this video, honestly, other than the fact that, well, it's just pretty much just that. However, I will admit though right away is the fact that, much like in forms of how it does in certain gaming Let's Plays we are still currently on, this is another one of those Let's Plays that we might actually occasionally might as well get ourselves a little bit of a delay between day by day or something like that. Most notably because of how the fact that, as you can tell, that my copy of the game of Shadow the Hedgehog, specifically, it seems to run fine on my Nintendo GameCube, but for some reason on my Nintendo Wii, for some reason it gets a little bit of a hard time trying to read those for some reason though. I'm guessing because of how the fact that it's all scratched heavy, so even then though, that I'm really hoping that it won't happen for the majority of the Let's Play. I was hoping for it, but it does that off screen on my own time though, which is kind of aggravating, so. Oh yeah, let's talk about by the forms of those, you know, these special keys right there. That, well, you know how the fact that there are 5 of them in total, as I said this before countless amount of times in the previous video. The only major differences between how the fact that with the special stage key, the forms of Sonic Heroes, is the fact that you can be captive forever. As long as you, if you get hit, then you won't lose any of them. So even then, what happens if you manage to able to, you know, get every single key in any kind of level? Basically, you're able to unlock the secret door, which actually leads you to this special hidden item, or in this case, in the rare occasions, where you can able to actually ride on vehicles, which I'll get to more details about the vehicle mechanics in this game. Like, this is before when Sonic 06 exists, but in forms of the actual driving on the vehicles and stuff like that. Like, we'll get to that until we get to the next video that we can able to get into the final stage 2 levels, which because of that, I'm actually going to be decided to be able to actually, like, call these levels by the forms of not only numbered based, but also by the forms of, like, a number letter system. Like, take for instance that in the previous video, shoot. Yeah, sometimes this section can get pretty slow at one point, especially if you're ever doing a dark mission, and as a result for that tradition, then sometimes you have to force the able to deal with, like, you know, slowly moving blocks and stuff like that. And especially noticeable how the fact that if you accidentally fall off any forms of the actual tower section, you have to go for all that climbing segment again. And in order to actually just try to able to actually deal with the actual core, which is essentially this core program right here, we need to able to just shoot at it. So even then, once you do that, then the mission is done. By the forms of the dark mission. So yeah, we've managed to clear it.
Whatever happens to the humans is no concern of mine.
And now we move on to the hero mission. Now the fact that matter is though is that we've already noticed is that Rouge the Battle is actually returning. But you know, you get the idea with that solution right here, as far as our words can say.
Oh, Shadow. What a coincidence running into you here. Actually, I'm on a government assignment to track down a Chaos Emerald in the area. How about we both do it?
But again, the hero mission is exactly like the forms of the dark mission, except the fact that we need to get into the actual goal ring. So even though, again, nothing too new or anything, it's just, you know, it kind of feels a little bit more of a mashup between the hero mission and the neutral mission, and sometimes neutral and dark mission. So it kind of feels like a combination of both, but either way, that's as far as I can usually say about this here. There's something I just want to mention is the fact that with this particular red shield, I don't know what the red shield can actually do to this game, but as far as I'm aware, is the fact I'm pretty sure I'm not mistaking, or I might as well give myself confusion. I'm assuming if I'm might as well able to guess, is the fact that this might be actually be the flame shield or something. I'm really not 100% sure. That's only because of how the fact that I haven't really looked up on game manuals that much in comparison to the forms of like pretty much everything. So, but I digress. So, yeah, that's what I can say about the forms of the hero mission in this level though. So, but other than the fact that you can also just manage to able to use the chaos control in this particular mission if you want to able to beat the level faster, and especially noticeable how the fact that well, I will admit though right away is the fact that the chaos control ability doesn't do that much in terms of some segments. Like for instance, for example, in this level, how the fact the matter is though, sometimes if you ever think about trying to able to breeze for the stage very fast, and then sometimes the game actually just forces you to able to deal with like some specific sections worth noting for. But even then, at least compared to the forms of Westopolis and all that stuff, in the forms of Westopolis level, you can just simply breeze for the actual level itself, no problem. But in the forms of like in some levels, like the forms of like, you know, digital circuits, sometimes we might as well able to actually go like stop completely until we're able to actually deal with a little bit more throughout in the level. So yeah, you can definitely tell the fact that how this you know, two abilities system goes. So, but I digress. And something is worth mentioning though is the fact that as I mentioned to you before, in order to actually access to this level right there by the forms of digital circuit, you need to able to complete the dark mission in the forms of Westopolis, and then once you do so, then you're able to transport you into this level right here. But in the forms of the neutral mission, you're able to take you to the forms of Glyphic Canyon. And as far as the hero mission of Westopolis, it actually takes you to the bottom route, as I established that before, in the forms of the actual level gridding system. And the fact of the matter is though, is the fact that, well, we'll get into more details about the forms of the unlockable methods with any single levels, basically, or in some cases, some alterations. Like, I've already mentioned about the forms of, like, to able to actually access the forms of those stage 2 levels is the fact that, well, obviously, get to digital circuit is by simply we need to complete the dark mission, and also by the forms of unlocking Glyphic Canyon, we're able to take you to the forms like if you manage to complete the normal mission. So, and the hero mission, it will actually take you to the forms of Lethal Highway, which appears to be the final stage 2 levels, and plus a boss fight coming up during whenever we get to this certain point in the next video. So, maybe during tomorrow though. But even then though, Another thing is worth mentioning though is the fact that this is the reason why how the fact that this Let's Play system might actually take a little bit longer than new forms of certain Let's Plays. Chaos Control! And it just stops completely. So yeah, this is what I was talking about when it comes to using Chaos Control! Man, I like that. Oh, stop that for what, Root? Oh, right, because it's one of those things how the fact that I need to homing attack into those gun robots and stuff. So yeah, I've pretty much seemed to say we got the endings off at this point right here, I'm afraid, guys. So yeah, join me next time on Let's Play Shadow the Hedgehog. Is the fact that we're going to be taking on the final Stage 2 levels, which appears to be Lethal Highway.
Sorry about this, but I'm taking this emerald.
And hopefully things will able to be dealt with for anyway, so yeah, see you guys next time for that. Later, fellas. An A effort.